We are getting closer and closer in here to NVIDIA earnings May 20th after market. So we're about a couple weeks away in here. Nice little almost $4 pop in here, about $3.71 on the day on Friday, above the 215 handles. That's good for us. Also, we had a high in here of 217.80. Going forward, what are we looking at in here? Well, this overall structure obviously is just based on the highs in here that we had last week, and then the highs coming in on October of last year. So obviously going forward, anything above those 217s, we're looking at nice whole numbers, 220, 225, 230, etc. Working our way up, letting the chart kind of dictate what is going to happen next. On the downside, what are we looking at in here? Well, it's first off, it's going to be the highs that came in a couple weeks ago. That's going to be that 212 mark. Anything or the 216 mark, anything outside of there, we're looking down here right around those 212s, and anything outside of there, nothing's really stopping us until we get to this 202 mark all the way down here. That's a place that we had trouble with, the 202s to right around that 198 area, about a $4 channel in there. It should hold some good support for us in here. That's an area that held about a couple weeks ago when everything else started taking off of earnings, and then NVIDIA just kind of blah, right? So that is a good area of support for us. IV ranking here is relatively high compared to itself, 58, about a $4 expected move priced in by Monday, Wednesday, about 6. If you go out to Friday, about 8. And if you go all the way out to next week's expiration, right around a $17 expected move is being priced in by that next Friday. So we're going to see what happens as we continue to get closer to that overall earnings report. We're also going to take a look at that SPY in here, just because if NVIDIA moves, obviously the SPY is going to go with it. You can see a breakout in here of this overall structure. We're going to see where this leads us to as we go into the next week in here. We're going to actually end up putting a high mark in here for our overall support and resistance in here, coming off those 738s. But anything above there, nice whole number, 740, 742, 744, just letting the chart kind of tell us what the resistance is going to be. But we're going to be watching definitely the nice whole numbers. To the downside in here, we're going to be looking at the lower trend line in here. I guess it'll be right here technically because we're going to be a week away. So right now that's trading right around that 732. So that's going to be our first support. Anything below that, we're going to be looking at the 724s and then the 712s. So we're going to see what happens as we get closer to that NVIDIA earnings. We're going to see how the market overall reacts as we get closer as well, and then see how things shake up in here. For your implied volatility in the SPY, you have right around an IV rank of 39 in here, $4 expected move priced in by Monday, almost 6 by Tuesday. If you go all the way out to next Friday, right around a $10 expected move. So decent expected moves in here overall for the stock being where it's at. Implied volatility relative to itself in here, just the SPY, just the options chain, a little bit juiced compared to what they normally are. That's because now all our risk is back to the downside in here. So we're going to see how that shakes out as we get closer to that overall big earnings report from NVIDIA here in a couple of weeks. So let's see what happens as we start a new week in here in the new, I guess, in the middle of the month in here, in the middle of May, and we're going to see how things start to shake out. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you're interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.